Yeah. So anyway, that'll pretty much do it, I suppose.
I want a
If
two-sentence update on Disco Elysium.
say one of these communist or fascist things, or fuck off.
I knew you would get there. I knew it.
Like, absolutely no choice on the in between. You have to, like, they create these, like, be a fucking straw man or die. um
Hey man, what can I say? Centrists are losers and the game knows it.
Hilarious, really fucking funny.
I got to the end of the communist quest line, and like it got to the point where I was like dead-eyed staring ahead thinking about putting a gun in my mouth. I was just so miserable.
So
Like
it's
it was like just stabbing me so deep.
yeah, and it's really um like like I saw someone say that like everyone that LPs this goes communist. So every like all footage of this being played is just kind of the samey in that way. And I thought about that and I'm like, well, I imagine it would get really uncomfortable really fast if you went fucking right hard on everything.
So the game makes fun of centrists a lot, but the only philosophy it actually goes like, no, you're a bad person by default is the fascist options.
Yeah.
And like they're all like violently like racist. Like nobody picks them on stream because it would just make it uncomfortable and like sad and not fun to play.
So the mug was the first test of sorts, or it wasn't the first, but it was an early test of sorts. And then it's like you can choose what to say about this mug with a racist caricature on it. And if you click the fascist option, the game just goes, "Oh, you're that kind of cop. Okay. Well, anyway." And it doesn't even reward you,
No.
right? It just straight up goes, "Uh-huh. Okay. Well, anyway then." And it's like it fucking like the narrative is so strong and so verbose and like it waxes on so many times that like it's so like the harshest thing ever is the narrator effectively being like, "Yeah, fuck you. I'm not even going to talk to you."
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Right.
It's
It's
fucking
great.
incredible. You know, so given that sort of circumstance and whatnot, you're kind of and of course how much it plays in like a half hour when you go stand before the CEO of racism. you know, um,
There's two of
unbelievable.
those.
Yeah, there's the sub boss and then there's the fucking the
No,
the real
oh sorry,
shit.
there are three.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you not get that dialogue with Kim?
Which one?
Because you meet the
The
lorry
lucky?
driver. I
Oh, the
saw you
lucky.
meet the lorry
Yeah,
driver.
yeah, yeah. The lucky third
Yeah,
racist. Yes, yes, yes. Right.
they will grant you three wishes.
So, yeah. All in all, yeah, it fucking continues to be one of the best games I've ever played. What can I say?
It's yeah, I'm getting way in there. I'm like one like 8 hour one away, right?
Mhm.
And it's expanding in all these crazy, crazy locations and ways that I'm just not prepared for. It's astonishing.
Mhm.
Wooly, you have Shivers as one of you pick Shivers as your primary stat, right?
I did.
Shivers is the only mandatory check in the entire game.
Whoa. Whoa. Really?
Yes.
Huh.
It's a
Well,
white
that's
check,
fucking.
so you can replay it.
That's lucky. Okay. I didn't put enough points into it to experience it as much as I want to, but I'm. It just sounded so cool.
It is.
That's all there was behind it. It's just this sounds like something that will be very cool to experience on a regular basis.
So, oh, by the way, I've built up a lot of stats, so I can tell you a more clear way of the way that they work. 4, they will talk to you regularly. At number 4, they will regularly talk to you.
Okay.
At 2, they may occasionally chime in, maybe. And at 6, they are loud.
Okay.
At 8, they are intolerable.
Okay. I didn't know that going in, so
it tends to work on even numbers. So you should get Shivers up to 4. Like,
yeah, because we're feeling
They'll
we're
tell
feeling
you shit all the time.
we're feeling that now, definitely.
I have perception at 10.
Jesus.
And like I want to shut my eyes off sometimes. Like, they won't stop.
Yeah, I think conceptualization is my highest stat right now at 6. I want to get Shivers up for sure, and that's why I don't want to. Like, I saw advice to saying don't level up until you need to in a conversation, and I hate that, and I'm not going to do that.
I have a new tip that I have learned: keep 1 level in reserve for when you want to re-roll a check, but otherwise level up, because the passive observations are constant, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a point where I was sitting on 5 levels because I talked to Everett, and I just talked and talked and talked and talked, and gained 5 levels. And it's like, I could hold on to these and re-roll 1 check 5 times, or I could make it so that I have 4 different skills start talking to me right now.
Yeah. And furthermore, I hate the idea of like, well, you might get to do this roll if you want to recheck it, or you're going to miss out, or you can miss out on a bunch of interesting little small checks while the conversation is getting started. Yeah. And I'm like, I want those small checks. Fuck off, you know? So
Eli went and did a save file with Cheat Engine called Too High, where I think he put every stat at like 9. And like, the description that I saw from his tweet is like, the game is like unplayable.
Everything just keeps coming up.
Just nonstop.
Yeah, okay.
Just forever.
Okay. Man, that's so much writing. It's this is a one.
Encyclopedia is like the worst one, by the way, by far. By far.
Mm-hmm.
The Encyclopedia has more dialogue. It has like twice as much as any of the other stats to itself. And I didn't know why that was until, again, Eli, our good pal Plague of Gripes, recently told me about a book called what's it called? The Sacred and Terrible Heirs? Help me, someone. The Terrible and Sacred Heirs? The Sacred and Terrible Heirs. I believe that is Sacred and Terrible Heir, right. And it is the book that the author who wrote Disco Elysium wrote before Disco Elysium, that takes place in the universe of Disco Elysium.
Oh. Okay.
It is a pre-established fiction.
Huh. The world of Revachol beforehand. Okay. All right.
Yeah. There's only one slight problem. You can't read it.
What language?
Neither can I. Because it's not in English.
French.
No. I think it's like only like Polish or like Czech or something like that.
Okay. Because I'm like, because so much of it sounds French that I was like, yeah, no, well, okay, fair enough.
Estonia.
Interesting. I wonder.
Estonian a language? I don't know. Please don't laugh at me.
Well, I was going to say that this feels like a once per generation style game where like nothing gets this much writing put into it. Nothing.
Only one game ever has ever gotten this much writing.
Planescape?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the only one.
I mean, this is a very clear example of an author wrote a book and then a game studio took that and went, let's make a game instead. For
Yeah.
every moment, they went
And
through
then they
all those.
voice acted it.
Yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable.
One of the
you know?
recent interviews with the narrator, as a guy who's never done voice work before, was eye-opening, and it was the fact that he can't speak any French at all. A detail that, by the time I'm at where I'm at now, has become overwhelmingly obvious.
Okay.
As the narrator, like, consistently mispronounces all sorts of shit.
And
But that's fine.
And the other thing too is that I would say that the strength of the prose is like, to me, I used to go on about this, the way the stories were translated in Lost Odyssey, right? And this is like absolutely on that level of like, oh, this is fucking excellent to read. It's a pleasure to read the descriptions of things and places and people, you know?
It also has like the most impressive language options I've ever seen in a game. So you can switch between different languages in the game.
Sure.
I'm loading it up right now to test, by the way. You have English. I want to say there's 2 types of Chinese. I want to say that's Japanese or maybe Korean. Spanish, Portuguese, Brazilian, French, Dutch, and either Polish or Russian. You can't read that last one. But did you notice that the option in the menu is English and?
I didn't look at the menu.
So in language, it's English and you pick a second one. And what you do is say you pick between English and French, and then you load in your game. You hit Q, and it swaps languages.
What's the point of that?
I don't know. Yeah, literally, like, I can talk to Kim, and then I hit Q once, and it just instantly switches the dialogue box to French.
Is that so that you can play it in a language you don't know and then switch it back to correct yourself?
I guess. That feels like a learning tool.
That's an insane feature. Like that's the only possible reason I can think of. There's no other benefit to that. Wow. Okay.
You think that's like a dev thing that they just kept?
It like there was a quick switch to test localization options, and then they I mean, yes, I do, because doing localization testing on a game like that, and this was where Reggie would actually have a better insight because he did language testing way more than I did, but you fucking like anything that a dev tool can help you use to check things in game would be it would shave literally like hundreds of hours off of the task, because first localization testers will grab an Excel sheet, read all the words and make sure that the words make sense, are spelled correctly, and everything is, like right. But then you have to see how it implements in game and make sure that it doesn't have line breaks, typos, incorrect spacing, and other syntax errors. So it's a 2-step process, and the second step takes fucking forever, especially in a game with tons of options and branching paths and so on. So you could absolutely save a tester's life by having them press a button to check how everything looks between languages on the fly.
You could totally, like, Japanese isn't currently in it because I assume that translation job is actually the biggest nightmare ever. But once it's in, you could totally use this game to practice your Japanese. Like 100%.
I don't see why not. Yeah, if in theory, sure.
This is the first game in a long time that I've been like, I can't wait to beat this on stream so I can play it again.
I don't see it happening, but I would love if they rolled out some text size support just to make it a little bigger, even, because
You playing on console?
no, playing it on my computer, but it's another situation where we're on the couch and not all text is like, some text is small but legible. Some text is like, that's more than standard, that's fine for the average conversation. For example, I'd say the general text during conversations is normal size, and that's fine. The stuff that is the descriptions of your abilities, of your stats, when you go to the info page, that's where it gets to like 1 degree smaller. Same for when you're looking at internalizing thoughts. So it's like, like the second level of font.
The thought internalizations are the smallest text in the game by far.
I think the stat checks with the pluses and minuses underneath are the smallest, actually.
So I just went in and checked, and it does have text options.
It does.
There are 3 text options.
Dragged it to the highest.
I just checked, and they don't affect all of the parts that you just complained about.
Exactly. They affect the main text you're seeing most of the time. But when you highlight a potential whiter red check, it'll show you the stats underneath to go +1 or -2 to whatever.
Well, they're tiny.
And those are the smallest in the game by far. Like, those are like ridiculously tiny. So that is all stuff that's meant for anyone sitting at a monitor that's right in front of your face at a desk, not for couch play. Yeah, I don't know. I'm right now. It's just I'm in a minority of PC game concerns about like couch play for this stuff, and our setup is such that like the illusion of like what you're watching versus like where we're sitting and how everything is arranged. There's a lot that goes into having the screens and the stream and the audio and the 2 capture devices and the keyboards and the multiple mice. There's a lot happening behind the magic of such a simple experience to make it seem easy, but it's not as simple as, unfortunately, just scooching the couch up,
It's funny that this is a topic that comes up when we talked about FF14 for so much, because I watched the first one, and one of the first things that Min showed you was you could change the size of the text box for like NPC dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really recent change. That the size of text in dialogue only used to be associated with your resolution, and it was like I had to play at 1080p for multiple years because I was playing on a TV, and anything higher than that just went, I literally can't read it at all. And it sucked. They need to decouple those, man.
Yeah. It's a quality of life issue that's a C-class bug that gets fucking ignored for years until someone goes, all right, let's take a look at this minor little fucking scaling thing, and it'll make a couple people happy, and then we'll fuck off, Like, it's minor, but it affects almost every single game I'm playing these days.
Civilization is like the actual worst. Like, because the maximum size is still like laughably small.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go like into the files and you find like the thing, like the percentage integer, you can just change it and it totally works at much, much higher percentages, and you can get it playable, but it's not an option in the game because who cares?
So the other option to solve this would be to just allow modders to do it, but allow the workshop to interface with the game. But obviously not every game's willing to do that.
I'm a big fan of you can scale it as high as you want, but it will break above this number.
Exactly. That I'd be more than happy with that. Like, your text will shoot out in weird directions, and you will see strange line breaks but if you want it bigger, we can do that. Like that's what I would prefer. Yeah. Um. Cool. Well, anyway, that's what's going on. You can tune in for more adventures of that. Disco Elysium. We've got a slot for something new because we played Ghost Runner again, and I was able to like finally fix the problems of last time. Play the proper PC version.
Oh, thank God.
Did a lot better. Still struggled, obviously, because my own, limitations in the game is a challenge and my aim sucks. But it played and it worked, so we got much further. Had a good time, yeah, we now have a spot. So we'll see, But for now, that's what's going on WoolieVersus, and yeah, again, Guilty Gear lore available now. Check it out. I'll announce the schedule. I was thinking of taking a couple days. I'm not too sure how we're going to set it up, but as usual, check my Twitter to see what we're doing this weekend or what days will be off, if any, and that'll be us.